fights with passion, and he inspires.
Are you ready for a war?
All right, welcome back to From 8 Arbitration, midweek episode. We're going to talk about arbitration because that's where we're headed. Finally, going to arbitration, something that should have happened 600 days ago. We're finally going to arbitration. I have no confidence in this clown at the top. Y'all know how I feel about Brian Renfroe. I think he's a complete disaster. I think he has been from the very beginning. He's way in over his head. I'm going to be truthful here. I'm going to be truthful. I could be wrong, but I'm going to be truthful. I think that both parties hid this from us for those 600 days. I think they intentionally tried to wait us out, and that's how I feel. I could be wrong, but there's no way you come to the table with 1.3%, the bullshit that they came to us with, and it took you 600 days to negotiate. The reason I say that is you took 600 days to negotiate a bunch of shit. 1.3%, 1.3%, 1.3%. Then you come back after we voted that shit down and you meet for 15 days and you come at me with 1.3%, 1.6%, and 1.7%. Now you did that in 15 days. So you mean to tell me that this skilled negotiator in 600 days couldn't accomplish what he accomplished in 15 days? Now, I know that they took some other stuff. They took $1,000 off the top at step P. I think they said that they had removed a step at the bottom. We're going to start at step B instead of A, and A. And PTS are going to make $1 less an hour. I believe that's what I'm hearing. But I have no confidence in our president. I think he's the biggest disaster this union has ever had. The city letter carrier, now his new motto is fight like hell. Keeps coming out, fight like hell. Everything is fight like hell. The city letter carrier had to push this son of a bitch into the ring to fight for us. That's how much he knows about fighting like hell. We had to push our president in the ring to fight for us. Think about that. Think about that for a second. The city letter carrier had to do that. He was just going to sit there on the stool in the corner and not get up for the bell. He was just going to quit. It's the city letter carrier that had to push his sorry ass into the ring to fight for us. And once he had to start skillfully negotiating, he failed. Do you know why? He's not a skillful negotiator. He has no idea what he's doing. He's in and over his head. I've been saying that forever. He's in over his head. But I have no idea what's going on in my union right now. I have no idea. Everything you look at, it's bizarre as hell what's going on with our lack of fight. For a union now, for a union. Think about it. I told you about Barner with the arbitration where he went in and agreed with labor that he would amend that. Do y'all remember a while back when I was talking about that arbitration that was lost? I believe it was out of Region 3. It was a good case for us. We had history in the case, and the arbitrator ruled against us, and it was about a monetary award, an escalated monetary award. And we lose those all the time. We win, we lose. That's just how arbitration works. And National and the business agent's office start sending out these emails. This is why you don't take everything to hearing. This is why you don't fight everything. Do y'all remember when I was talking about that? This hurt us. This hurt us in this city, in this installation, in this district, nationally. This hurt us because we lost one decision. Well, we finally got a decision on our side that was devastating to management that we could use nationally. This one where the arbitrator said that the manager was going to pay full freight. We finally got us one that is devastating to them. That would have been 3 that we had that we could use as sites. 3 sites right there for us. And what happens? Barner decides that he's going to agree with labor and call the arbitrator and have him amend that decision. So we get a decision that goes against us and we start raising hell, going, just running around like the end of the world. This is why we don't take these to arbitration. We might lose it. We finally win one and we amend the damn thing. What's going on with our union right now? We've got a president that sat supposedly, allegedly, in a room for 600 days and comes out with 1.3%. And the contractual issues, don't even get me started on that, where you're taking everything that was on the contractual issues was a concession by us. And then you come out with 1.3%. There's no doubt that they had this figured out early on, maybe within the first month, maybe within the first few weeks. And they intentionally sat on that so that we'd be forced to take it. That's my opinion. That's how I feel. They intentionally sat on that so we'd be forced to take it because too many people need that money. And our president, in cahoots with the Postal Service, sat on that for 600 days and then came to us with that bullshit saying this is the best that I could do. I squeezed every penny that I could out of them, and in 15 days, you managed to squeeze some more pennies. It's amazing how that works. But here's what's going to happen. Here's the official statement from our union. It says, NALC and Postal Service reach impasse proceeding to interest arbitration. The NALC Executive Council met today to consider the progress made during the 15-day negotiation period that followed the reopening of contract negotiations with the Postal Service on February 3rd, pursuant to Article 16 of the NALC Constitution. The Council voted unanimously to not agree to terms with the Postal Service that would have produced a modified tentative agreement to be sent to eligible members for a second ratification vote. NALC has notified USPS officials that we are now at impasse on the terms of a new collective bargaining agreement. The parties' ongoing dispute over terms of a new agreement will now be decided in the interest arbitration process. The parties have selected arbitrator Dennis R. Nolan to serve as the chair of the three-person arbitration panel. Information on hearing dates for interest arbitration will be shared as soon as the schedule is confirmed. While there was some movement on the issues that mattered to letter carriers during the 15-day period of good faith bargaining, it was not enough to produce a fair contract for the active members of the NALC. Then why would you think that that first bullshit you presented to us was fair? Why do you think that that was fair? This dude is in self-preservation mode right now. He knows that he's lost. He can't overcome it. He will never overcome what just happened. He's lost. He's losing. And those that support him, they're losing. It's inevitable. On my life, they're losing. And they're going to be packing up. But now he says that while there was some movement on the issues that matter to letter carriers during this 15-day period of good faith bargaining, it was not enough to produce a fair contract for the active members of the NALC. So during the 15-day period, it wasn't enough to produce a fair contract. Then what happened in the first 600 days? Why did you think that that was fair? In 600 days, why did you think that was fair? To bring that bullshit to us, that was beginning type offer shit. That's what they sat down with and offered. There's no way they offered less. First off, and I'm going to continue to say this about the lying son of a bitch. First off, he came out and he said, we're not going to accept anything less than 9%. Do you know how fast my negotiations would be? And I'm not as a skillful negotiator as he is, obviously. Do you know how fast my negotiations would be? If I told my members, and if my word is all I've got, if it's my bond to me, to you, if that's my bond, to me, to my carriers, is my word, my name. And I tell you that we're not going to accept anything less than 9%. And I go in there on day one, and I'm going to say, hey, look here, here's the issue. We're not going to accept anything less than 9%. If they crack a grin at me, I'm going to say, see you in arbitration, motherfuckers. See you in arbitration. If they crack a smile, if I see a tooth, I'll see you in arbitration. Why? Because my word is all I've got to my people out there in the street that are suffering, getting killed, getting robbed, getting murdered. My word is all I've got to them. I will not lie to my members. I will not lie to them. And I have told them that I will not accept anything less than 9%. And if any one of you motherfuckers crack a grin again, we'll be in arbitration. These are negotiations are over. But that's how I would negotiate. Because why? Because I told my members. That I would not accept anything less than 9%. 600 days later, you tell us 1.3%. To the tune of 3.9. That's in 3 years. 1.3, 1.3, 1.3. 3.9. And again, you say, if we don't have an all-career workforce, it's a non-starter. As a president, my word to you, if I say that out loud, then that's exactly what's going to happen, or we're going to arbitration. That's how you skillfully negotiate. You skillfully negotiate because of your word, your bond between me and the craft. Because they're looking at me. They're expecting things from me. And if I tell you that if don't have an all-career workforce that's a non-starter, that's exactly what's going to happen on day fucking one. Where are we at? Well, we're going to have an all-career workforce or it's a non-starter. We can't do it. All right, my man, we'll see you on arbitration. Let's get these dates. That's how you skillfully negotiate on your word. Because that's all we've got. But this motherfucker's the most lying, dishonest son of a bitch I've ever seen in my life. He is a pathetic excuse for a president. He's a pathetic excuse for a president. He cannot quit lying. Motherfucker don't know what in the fuck he's doing. And here we are. However many hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of days later, going to arbitration, something that should have happened hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of days ago. But here we are. Here we are. Run by clowns. Run by clowns. 600 days, you skillfully negotiated a plate full of shit and try to hand it to us. Surprise, motherfucker. Surprise, bitch. The city letter carrier stood the fuck up. And we are still standing. We are still standing. We grabbed your sorry ass out of the corner off the stool and threw your ass in the ring and said, fight for us. And you failed again. You failed. Now you want to fight like hell in arbitration. What a fucking clown you are, man. What a fucking clown you are. So what's next? Let's talk about what's next. And I stole this from John Murphy. I think he put it up. I stole it from him because I liked it. And this is from a while ago, but it tells about the process in case those are wondering about the process. We're going to be represented by Cohen, Weiss, and Simon. That's who will be represented. That's our attorneys. And Keith Secular usually handles these negotiations, the arbitrations. Okay, so it's Cohen, Weiss, and Simon. That's the firm. And Keith Secular usually handles this. It will not be Renfroe. Now, I'm like y'all. I don't trust Renfroe to save my life. And I hate that. Not because I don't trust him. He's a piece of shit. He's a lying piece of shit. But what I hate is the fact that he's a narcissist. And the ultimate, I told you so, to have the arbitrator agree with what they initially did. I hate that I feel that way. I hate that I feel that way, to come out with what we initially were offered and tell the arbitrator kind of a pre-settlement. To come out with that bullshit so he can say, told y'all we couldn't do no better. I pray that that's not how he is, but I don't put nothing past the line, son of a bitch. And I'm going to read this, though. The April 8 deadline for mediation passed and negotiations for a new national agreement between the NALC and the U.S. Postal Service concluded. So the process has moved to interest arbitration. Formal talks between the two parties began in August of 2011. So this is a while back, but this is going to tell you the process. 3 months before the November 20 expiration date of the 2006-2011 contract. But following several extensions, the USPS announced on January 20th that it was declining to further extend its collective bargaining negotiations with the NALC. About 3 weeks after the impasse was declared, the Federal Mediation and Conciliation Service, FCMS, appointed attorney Joshua Javits as a mediator to help NALC and the USPS reach a new agreement. The two parties agreed on a mediation deadline of April 8th, and Javits held a number of meetings with both sides separately, attempting to focus on the parties' common interest. Unfortunately, agreement cannot be reached, so the process moves to interest arbitration. Under the Postal Reorganization Act, if mediation fails, the parties must arbitrate the terms of the new labor contract in a process known as interest arbitration. The parties select a mutually acceptable neutral arbitrator, typically one who is well known and widely respected. Sometimes NALC and USPS have selected a neutral arbitrator through direct talks. In other cases, they have obtained a list of candidates from the FCMS and then alternately struck names until just one remained. Arbitration panel. This new arbitrator chairs a 3-person board panel, which also includes members for both the union and management sides. For instance, in NALC's last interest arbitration with USPS in 1999, the parties jointly chose arbitrator George Fleischle to serve as neutral chairman. NALC chose Bruce Simon, its general counsel, to be the union member of the panel. USPS chose R. Theodore Clark, a partner in management labor law firm, as its panel member. The extra panel members are not neutral in the interest arbitration proceeding. Each is an advocate for the party who selected him or her. However, in a panel interest arbitration, the chatter must obtain a majority to issue a decision. In the 1998 round, neutral arbitrator George Fleischle issued a decision which the NALC advocate arbitrator also signed. The USPS panel member wrote a dissenting opinion. Experienced arbitrator Shyam Das has been named as the chairman of the panel, which will decide the terms of the next collective bargaining agreement between NALC and USPS. Once the schedule is agreed on, hearings will begin. National interest arbitration hearings are unusual. Unlike a typical grievance arbitration hearing, they are never finished in a single day. In 1999, the Fleischle panel held 23 separate days of hearing. This arduous process was spread over a few months because the arbitrator had a busy schedule which the parties had to accommodate. The result was a procedure that progressed in fits and starts, with hearing days occurring individually or in clumps separated by breaks of varying length. Other interest arbitrations have been similar. NALC, USPS, and interest arbitrations have grown in complexity and length each time the parties have resorted to the procedure. Witness lists have been long. NALC's witnesses have included NALC presidents and other national officers, experts such as PhD, economists, and labor relations professors, panels of working letter carriers, local union activists with special expertise, and headquarter staffers. The hearing process is a hybrid of sorts. It follows the general order of a grievance arbitration hearing. The union begins by presenting an opening statement and then offers a procession of witnesses to present its case in chief, arguments for raises in pay and other proposals. The employer responds with its own case in chief and witnesses. Each side may then present rebuttal witnesses. After the evidence is all presented and the hearing closes, each side submits a written brief. However, the usual rules of evidence and hearing behavior have not been used in interest arbitration. Direct and cross-examination are very informal. Witnesses typically present their cases on direct examination without much questioning or interruption, and rules of evidence are largely ignored. Panel members often ask questions, with arbitrators or advocate members helping their respective sides in the manner of a partisan congressional hearing. At the close of the hearing, the interest arbitration panel meets on its own in executive session. These private discussions resemble a resumption of negotiations with a neutral arbitrator sometimes acting as a kind of mediator. In the end, however, the neutral chairman must act as arbiter, making the final decision on the provisions of the new contract. The interest arbitration award is final and binding on both parties. Pros and cons. As with mediation, there are advantages and disadvantages to resorting to interest arbitration. This step in the contract negotiation process generally is perceived as fair and unbiased, resolving a dispute with a measure of finality. A disadvantage, though, is that there is no guarantee that both sides will come out winners in an arbitration decision. Of course, even after the arbitration gets started, the NALC and USPS could still choose to settle on an agreement on their own, sidestepping the binding arbitration process. The last time an NALC USPS agreement was reached through interest arbitration was in the summer of 1999. That arbitration resulted in a substantial win for the NALC, with a 3-year pact that provided a rise to grade 6 pay for all city letter carriers, annual wage increases, and a continued cost of living adjustment, as well as improved health care benefits. The negotiating atmosphere is a lot tougher in 2012 than it was 13 years ago. President Fred Orlando, which is why we've literally been preparing for interest arbitration since the 2010 National Convention in Anaheim, which is exact same language Renfroe just put out. We continue to bring all our resources to bear on this effort to achieve a new national agreement, and we will work tirelessly to make sure our full case gets heard by the arbitration panel, just as we did at the bargaining table. So, there you have it. That's the process now. That's where we're at, okay? Arbitration. I'm not scared of it. I never will be, never have been. We put our best case on and let the arbitrators decide. That's exactly what's going to happen. We may lose things, we may gain things. The thing that we can never lose is our will to fight. As city letter carriers, forget national officers, business agents, branch presidents, forget NALC. What the city letter carrier can never lose is our will to fight. We have shown that overwhelmingly in this TA when we stood the fuck up and told Renfroe and the Postal Service to roll that up and shove it up their fucking ass. That's the city letter carrier spirit. That's how we have to be. Especially in the election coming up in 26, we have to stand up and show our fighting spirit. We will always fight. Regardless of what the union does, we will always fight here when we have an opportunity. When it's our vote, like this TA, we stood up and told them both to go shove it, right? In 26, we're going to stand the fuck up again and tell this administration, these good old boys, pack your fucking shit, you're leaving. We're tired of incompetence like we've never seen it before. We're tired of that shit. And we're going to stand the fuck up and have people packing their shit, okay? So, I'm not scared of arbitration. I never will be. What happens, fucking happens. That's where we're at right now. We have said for the longest, we will refuse to eat soup. And that's what you're trying to feed us. You want us to continually stand in a soup line, we're not doing it any longer. We're going to fight for steak. Now, we may end up eating soup. We may end up eating soup. But you know what we're going to do? We're going to be hand in hand. We're going to be arm in arm, right? Shoulder to shoulder. Looking at each other with a missing tooth, a black eye, and say, motherfuckers, we almost had steak. Because that's who we fucking are, man. That's who we are when we're walking out there in this fucking snow. When we're walking out there in that fucking heat. We got our brothers and sisters being robbed on the street, right? We have our brothers and sisters dying in yards from heat. During COVID, we were out there every fucking day when the world shut down. That's the city fucking letter carrier. That's who we are. That's our fighting spirit. And both sides are seeing that now, and they're surprised. They're shocked at what they're seeing. What in the fuck? What do you mean your TA got shot down by 70%? What do you mean? The carrier is sick and fucking tired of being sick and fucking tired. And that's the way it fucking is. We have stood the fuck up, and we will not sit down. Right? We're going to hand this thing over to the CLC in 26 and say, go fucking get them. We're going on the offensive next year. On my life, that's what's happening. We're going on the offensive next year. So we have a president who's wasted 600, 700 days with some bullshit. To me, personally, I think it was intentional. I think he tried to starve us out. Like I was saying back then, you wait long enough, you will convince people that are starving to eat shit. And that's exactly what they proposed. They proposed a plate full of shit to some people that were starving. And we said, take that and eat it yourself, bitch. We're going to go into town and try to fight for some steak. And that's what we did. And that's where we're at. We're going to arbitration, right? We're going to arbitration because we can say that we didn't settle for bullshit. We may get it. We may get it. The arbitrator may say, hey, all this shit going on, this is what y'all going to get. And I'm going to say, motherfucker, we fought for steak. That's the fighting spirit of us, man. That's light blue. That's light blue, and I'm unapologetic about it, man. I'm a city letter carrier through and through 100%. I've been doing this shit for 32 fucking years. With my family. With Light Blue. That's my family. So we stood up. We forced this thing to arbitration because your cowardly son of a bitch president brought 1.3% after 600 fucking days of talking about that's all he could do. And now this bitch wants to wear a shirt saying fight like hell. And that's his motto. Fight like hell. Motherfucker don't have a clue how to fight. We had to throw that motherfucker in the ring on to management and say fight. And he didn't know how. So here we go. All right. So there you have it. There's a little midweek episode for you. Just 26 minutes. That's rare, right? But fuck all of them, man. Fuck all of them. This is what we said when we voted down that TA. Fuck both sides. Fuck y'all for bringing that shit to us. Indefensible. Indefensible what just happened to us after 700 fucking days. Indefensible that we're just now going to arbitration. Be a man of your word. You tell me that you're not going to accept anything less than 9%. Motherfucker, go on there on day one and say, this is my proposal right here. 9%. Can't do it. Get a date set, motherfuckers. We're going. Right? We're going motherfucking, bitches. See y'all in arbitration. But no. No. We got a dumb, cowardly motherfucker leading us right now. Right now. That's changing. Okay? So here's your Wednesday episode. Hope y'all enjoyed it. Y'all be safe out there, man. A lot of snow and stuff coming around the country. We had no trucks today, no mail. So we went in and stuck what little mail they had left and headed to the crib. So y'all be careful out there. I love each one of you very much. Good for you. Good for us. Good for us that the city letter carrier told the NALC and the Postal Service, shove it up your ass. We're just getting started, man. Everything will be okay. I promise you that. On my life, everything's going to be okay. You'll see. You'll look back at this when everything changes, when we take over this motherfucker. You'll look back at this and say, remember when. Okay? I love y'all. I'll talk to y'all Sunday, all right, with Mr. Richie Ray and some other stuff. All right, bye.